What's up, guys? This is Hobbs again. I know I'm like a rare Pokemon. You never see me, you know, um, or like the Avatar. I'm never there when it counts, right? But hey, I'm here today, man, and I'm here to make a video on surviving the times. That is, surviving and going forward with Miguel despite the season 3 changes. So I know I haven't given my opinion on the season 3 changes, but too long didn't read version. I'm unhappy with it. I feel like he's nerfed more than he was buffed. He did receive some buffs, but it just goes to show you, and it's kind of similar to what League players say and large players say, to where it doesn't really seem that the Tekken team understands how these characters are played. They don't understand their core gameplay, their strategy, their weaknesses, their strengths. Fuck this video. How to survive the butcher job that they gave Miguel for season 3. So, trying to be more constructive and give you guys kind of what I feel, how I feel he should be played, given this new frontier of season 3. So let's, and I'm trying to make this brief, like probably 20 minutes or under. So let's try and do that. And I do have more videos in the future. I have more videos planned in terms of what I really feel about season 3 and how I feel, like a super in-depth video onto Miguel and talking about frames, his whole move set, categorizing them, ranking them. I have like a lot of videos planned. Of course, as at the moment, I'm also working on another Oki tutorial part 4 video, and I have another combo video coming out, and I have another offensive tutorial highlights part 2 that I already have all the footage for. So I have a lot of videos coming out. So I know, like I said, I've been missing in action for quite a while, but I have a stockpile of content, so definitely trust in that. Anyway, so let's get started with the video. So Miguel, of course, Miguel can be played in a variety of ways. He can be played just doing pokes, doing pokes, space. In any way he's played, you have to space correctly, since he has a good back dash, right? And then he has a good side step too. So you can play him, any way you play him, you need to be able to move correctly. So you can play him, like I said, poke character, boom, 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 boom. Or you can play him mix-up character. Or, I'll get into that, but theoretically, you should be able to play him as a mix-up character. And then just constantly go in and out of sab, right? And then be plus frames. So you can play him in these, or you can just mix up the two and then space, right? And then once you're able to get in, then you do your pokes, right? So there's a variety of ways you can play them. But with the season 3 changes, what you find is that they're really forcing you to play, more safe and less stringy and less risky, which goes against kind of Miguel's really style of play. But like I said, that's another topic. I'll have a whole another video on that. So yeah, like I said, with season 3 changes, it forces you to play less risky. So this is what I think you should do. And I also have the season 3 changes to my right here. So let's see. In terms of his pokes, I would recommend you not do too many pokes other than 4-4-1 or 4-4 when trying to get in, especially if you're in a neutral space like this. Especially if you're playing a character like Lee or playing against a character like Lee. Then this guy has 4-4-2. He has running 3-4. He has so many ways to keep you out and out poke you. So I wouldn't even run. And another story is infinite stages, which I'll get into. So like I said, if you're in a neutral space like this, 1-2 range or beyond, then I think you should use 4-4 and down 4-2. Because with the change to this, it's still good, but it's harder to connect on reaction. Because before you can just do that, boom, and then it was the easy connect. But now you have to kind of watch for it, right? And to do that. And then So with the reduction of this, even though I don't think that's a big nerf to him, at the same time, it just still limits his overall poking options. So you need to be even more kind of stringent and conservative with which pokes you choose to use. So like I said, in my opinion, the best pokes are this and that. And if you see them whiff, then you can do this, right? But if you're facing a better opponent, they have a limited life left, and you want to be more careful, then don't even use 4421. Use 4422, because a lot of times with these moves, and notice I said use forward 4 and not 442, because many of Miguel's moves are his 2-hit strings are way too slow to where like this, and this, to where they're so slow to where you know, they make for a very easy punish job. Anybody can punish it because it's so seeable, you know, because there's so many startup frames, especially to the second move. So I don't even recommend completing the combos when you're facing a good player and you're in neutral. Just do that, and I think you're +7, so you can go into that, right? And I do that a lot of times. So like I said, use this, use that, and then once you see a whiff, you could use this, but the range and the hitbox is so atrocious on that, I don't recommend using that. What I recommend is doing this, like I said, or not that, but 4-4-2-2. Because like I said, if you see a move and they whiff it, and then you do this, then this move is actually still pretty slow. Let me turn on the Tekken Bot Prime to see the actual frames, right? Cool. So what is this move? Is it 19? Okay, it's 18 frames. So it's pretty slow, actually, the startup to that. Pretty slow. So if you're using that as a whiff puncher, then there's a chance that you could be too slow with it and then they can block it. So you don't want them to block. You don't want to mistime it and for them to block this because they can duck the second hit and launch you. So like I said, if they're low damage and you want to finish them off, or you just want to be more safer, then do 4-4-2-2. Because even if they block that, then it's a mix up of mid or high, because people who know Miguel are actually more susceptible to getting hit by 4-4-2-2, since they oftentimes look for the 2-1, the high punch. They look for that, and so they duck on reaction, then they get hit by the second hit. So I'd recommend doing 4-4-2-2 as a whiff punisher. Probably this and that is his best whiff punishers. Notice I didn't say down forward 1-2, and I didn't say forward 2-4 or forward 2-3. Yeah, I didn't say that, because first off, this is way too slow, 21 frames, and it's linear, it's sidesteppable, and it's -12. But it can be less minus depending on, you know, the active frame which you hit them on. So it can be actually -10, I believe. I think at most -10, or maybe it can be safe. I'm not sure, but I've seen -10. Either way, just assume you're going to be at -12. So that's the easy punish since it's so slow, and it looks like a heavy hitting move. It looks punishable. You know what I mean? That's an important thing. And like I said, this one also is on lower levels, intermediate players. Then this is an amazing tool. And even it can still be used as a whiff punisher if somebody does like a, you know, like a slow launcher or a string or something. Then you can use it if you're for sure that they're attacking at the moment. But I wouldn't recommend using it if just in an open space like this to close the distance. I wouldn't. In high level play, don't use this move, because you see that the hitbox actually isn't really that good, especially as the move ends. And so that whole time you're able to get launched, you know? That whole time you're able to get launched. And let me turn my phone off. The whole time you use that move, when it's whiffed, you're able to get launched. And you can step it pretty easily. And so a good player who's constantly moving, anybody who's constantly moving, this move loses like its value when they're constantly moving, because they'll sidestep it, they'll backdash it, and they'll launch you. Since it's so linear, and that's a problem with this guy in general for his long pokes. So like I said, don't use this and don't use that. Use this and use that. That's how you want. That's what you want to do if you want to either play keep out or with punish or kind of get in. Especially when getting in, I say use that. But overall, rely on his backdash because it's very far backdash. Just 2 backdashes like that, and you'll make opponents whiff. Then you can do a that, or you know, or and then you can do that, right? So rely on his spacing, but if you need to do a poke, do that, or this. So next thing I want to say is that I still wouldn't recommend using down for 2-1. Of course, the recovery time was shortened by 3 frames, but I wouldn't recommend using it. The thing is that the move, even though now you can combo, you can do regular combos off of it, which is good. The move, it has decent range when you compare it to this and that and this, but the range still isn't very good. And this also one of the moves to where I mentioned earlier, to where the 2-hit string is unbearably slow, to where it's similar to Bob's while standing 2-1, to where nobody's not going to punish, or everybody's going to punish that, since you have time to react to both moves, you know, or to the second move. You see the first one come out, you block it, then the next launcher comes out, and then at that moment you're already ready to use your launcher. Instead of a move like this, to where it's more sudden, you know, and then it's harder to react and launch, right? But if it's a 2-hitter launcher, then expect to get launched if you use that wrong, you know. So yeah, that's definitely something to take into consideration. And so I wouldn't recommend using it. Like I said, if you need to launch, you use a hop kick. If you know the move, the hop kick doesn't reach for a specific, you know, example or a specific situation, then of course use that as a punisher. But to me, it's still just too risky to use this as a punisher. If you use this as a punisher and they block it, then okay, you're -13. You know, you're not launch punishable. But if you use this and you miss it, then you're for sure going to get launched, since, like I said, it's so slow. So I just wouldn't recommend using that in any fashion, really. Not in neutral, not sidestepping, you know. I wouldn't recommend using it at all, to be honest with you. That's just me, personally. Let's see. So down 4, even though, like I said, they decreased the distance of it when blocked, that doesn't matter. It's still an amazing poke with phenomenal range. It's still a great round ender, a great chipping tool. And people don't block it because they don't expect you to be able to hit them from here, or especially not a low. Most people think you'll do like a this from here, right? Or this, or this, or from this range, that, or something. They'll think you do some long range mid or high move. They don't expect you to go low and hit from that distance. So a lot of people don't block from here. So when you're spacing, especially Miguel's good spacing, you can get in just enough, and then boom, do it once, twice, you know, then back up again, boom, and then sidestep, boom, and once you frustrate them, you know. So this is a super underrated, even though it's not much damage, right? It doesn't lead to anything. It's very underrated poke because the range is so good. You know, they might have nerfed the range on this, but they didn't nerf the range on that. So continue to use that move and keep it in your arsenal. Next move. Let's see, back 4. Oh, this move right here. Dude, if you weren't already using that move, then you need to include that in your inventory. Dude, you abuse the crap out of this move. Of course, it's -14, but what people don't talk about is that, yeah, it's from -13 to -14, and characters can get a launch out of it. And the difference between -13 to -15 is huge, of course. I understand that it's definitely more unsafe. But the fact that it can wall bounce and it's a power crush, that means that that's one of the best, not only power crushes, but that's one of the best wall bounce tools in the game. Both, you know? Since you can do it for free, you can absorb a move, and then you can wall bounce them, and it leads to a good combo. So you definitely should be doing this more. But like I said, it's more unsafe that's -14, but that doesn't really matter because you shouldn't be using power crush moves like willy-nilly. You shouldn't be using those as regular pokes or something. You use a power crush move where you have a read and the opponent's coming into you and you know they're attacking. You've already read their pattern of attacks, you know? And so you use it at a moment where it's a guaranteed hit because you know they're coming in and they're attacking you. Like a power crush is by its nature a read, you know? A power crush is like a low parry or something, or a punch parry. You use it when you think the opponent's going to attack. So you're not worrying about the negative frames of it, because if you're smart and you're using it effectively, you're going to use it sparingly, or you're going to use it at a moment to where you know they're attacking. So it's not something that you're going to expect it to be blocked, if that makes sense, if you're using it correctly. So don't worry about the -14, in my opinion. What you should do is use it, like I said, when they're coming in and when they're doing an attack, or when they have you at offensive pressure. You know what I mean? Especially characters that keep you on the offense, like, or they try and intimidate you or get you to respect their offense, like Lee, Lars, Negan, Jack. You know, characters that can just keep attacking. Oh, Xiao Yu's a huge one too, because you have to respect your offense. So characters like that, dude, abuse that. You know what I mean? But time it, but abuse it. This move has gotten a lot better. It's definitely one of the better buffs on this character. So let's see, 443. Honestly, you see, the thing is that before, I'd actually recommend you to punish with this move, right? So if, for instance, oh, actually not, hold on. How do you do it? Man, I haven't played Lee in so long. Oh, it's just a 4, yeah, okay. So let's record that. Cool. So before, when you blocked, I recommend to punch with that. But you see, for most characters, you can only get like 78 damage or something. Let me do the recommended combo from here, or the combo I usually do. So let's do it. That's 75 damage. That used to be 81 damage without the nerf to that damage. It lost 5 points of damage. So now it's 75 damage instead of 81 damage. So at this point, that's not even the best. What's it called? You know, Snake Edge Punisher. You might as well do a that, because I'm pretty sure you can get more damage from here. So let's try it. What should I do? Actually, maybe if I do this. Okay. $79 damage. You see that? The other one's 75 damage. Before this Punisher from a Snake Edge would be the highest damaging option you can start out with. But now that it's lost its 5 points of damage, then you might as well do a delayed hop kick. So at this point, all in all, in conclusion for this particular move, don't really rely on that. Actually, this is also a whiff Punisher. If you, like I said, if it's an obvious whiff, then you do something like that, right? I'm pretty sure that wall splash is natural, good damage, 40. Or you do this if it's like an obvious whiff. But otherwise, don't include this in your combo. You know, don't include that in your combo, because it's not even that strong, and it's not worth the risk considering it's 20 frames slow. It's super seeable, and it's high. Yeah, it tracks, but he already has tracking options with that, with this, and quasi with, you know, this and that, which tracks well too, and this tracks well too. So, you know, he didn't need a tracking move this slow. He could definitely use a tracking move other than this out of from a non-savage stance, right? Move, but he didn't need one this slow. So I don't really recommend using this except for an obvious whiff Punisher. Like I said, if you're blocking a Snake Edge, then just use a delayed hop kick, right? Yeah, but anyway. So that's that. Back down 4. This move right here. Honestly, I don't recommend using this at all. At all. Now, I do have a tutorial coming out where I do recommend this as Oki. But, you know, I'll get to that in this next video I'm going to release pretty soon here. So, otherwise, like I said, don't use this move at all. Why? Because, first off, it's 27 frames slow. 27 frames slow. Which means that it's going to be blocked by anybody who has a rudimentary level of defense. They're going to block this. In fact, the first time I played Season 3 and I did it, it was blocked and launched by a Kazuya player. The very first time I did that move. Like, the very first time I tried it on ranked. You know what I mean? And the first time I tried it on that player, right? And then it was blocked and launched. But I wouldn't recommend doing it. Maybe you can throw it out once in a blue moon. Well, the only time I'd probably recommend doing it, if you're going to use it, will be against a wall. Because the second problem with it, despite it being super slow, and despite him yelling, giving that audio cue, to where obviously he's going for it. Imagine between this, that's what makes this inferior to this. Because he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say nothing. And it's 8 frames faster. And it's the same speed as this. Which means that's also a mix-up. You know. But this one, he gets that huge audio cue. And it's slower. So where it's going to be blocked. Then the second problem, or the third problem with it, which is, like I said, why I recommend doing it against the wall, is that look how far it sends him. To where you do it point blank, and you can't even get a 1 after that. See that? It whiffs. You can't even get this. His most basic savage pressure option, or savage string, that you can go into that, or go into or you can go into this to leave you +3 a natural hit like that. You know? +6 after that. This is a good string. You can't even do that. Because it leaves them, they don't even have to press anything, and it leaves you out of range. Well, at an angle, see, it was at an angle. Or you have to wait a little while for them to come back. But if you try and do it point blank, then it won't hit them. See? Let's see. So like I say, it leaves them too far to where even if you're at a more of a distance, you can't even get Savage up for 3 for some characters. Because it actually does hit a little, pretty far. See that? But it whiffs. So imagine how many other things whiff. Imagine, to me, even though that's his core Savage string, right? This to me is his best Savage string because it's natural and it leaves you at +8, and there's a natural you know, ambiguous 50-50 with the threat of that. So being +8 and being a lot closer, because by the time you attack, you're still super close to him. But when you do this, you're far. So the fact that you can't even get his best Savage string after this. Let's see if it hits from here. You see what I mean? So you can't get that. And mind you, this is just if I'm close. If I'm doing it, then maybe it works, right? But you see it whiffs. So you tell me this whiffs, that whiffs, and I'm sure many other things whiff. Look at that hits. But see, down 4 Savage. You see that? It's just not good. And of course they're not doing anything. So like I said, this move isn't good. I went on a tangent, but it's not good. I wouldn't recommend using it. Only time you're going to use it is if you're against the wall. Because if you're against the wall, then he won't go this far. You'll still be close to him. So at this point, you'll be pretty much, imagine doing this move, but you're +8 with the ability to transition into Savage stance. So like I said, if you're against the wall, then you'll be point blank with the ability to transition with +8. So that's a good situation. If you do it from far, then I think a good frame trap, especially for offensive opponents, would be to kind of do this and then boom, you know what I mean? Or this and then boom, right? Something like that. Just to try and see if they'll do anything. But against the wall, then it has, once hit against the wall, then it has a good use. Wow, that was long. So during our Savage Stance 2, this move, even though it's safe now, but like we said earlier, nobody punished this move, and it had pushback to where it was almost unpunishable if you did it at the right distance. So nothing really changed, in my opinion, with this move. Nothing really changed. Set the guard all. Because if you did it at a good distance, then like I said, and it's so quick, similar to this, to where even before season 2, this wasn't punished that often because it came out so quick, you know? And you know, it's just it's quick, it's long range. People don't expect it to hit from a certain distance, and the quickness allows it to, the quickness and the pushback allows it to circumvent, you know, being punished. And so the same case for this move goes for this move. So the move was already fine with being -12. Of course, now you're safe, but -9 isn't a good situation. That's like, I don't know what the combination is. You know, what's his name? Noctis is 4-2 or something. The one where he throws his sword and he's -9 afterwards. You like, that's 1 frame away from being -10. Just think about that. -10, you can't avoid getting jabbed. -9, you can block jabs barely by 1 frame, but you can't sidestep, you can't do power crushes, you can't do rage arts, you can't do anything. Not even Xiaoyu can do her Great Wall. Yoshi can't do her flash if you're -9, right? And I do a jab or anything, you know, 11 frame, 12 frame move. No, you can't do anything. So your turn is effectively extinguished at -9. So that's still not a good situation. If it was -6 or -7, then okay, that'd be better. But you're still lost your turn. You know what I mean? So people in my opinion, overrate the change of this move. Let's see. So yeah, shorten the recovery frame by 3 frames. That's cool against the wall. Like I said, where it really matters is against the wall, because then you can do this as a wall splat that's safe, right? But it's still 16 frames, and that's pretty slow, you know, especially in Miguel's case where he's starving for fast mids. You know what I mean? With his quickest mid being 13 frames, he doesn't even have a mid that's quicker than 13 frames. So for a character like this, then this serves better against the wall, because against the wall is harder to sidestep anyway, with this move being more linear than this. But this was already a safe option at -9, but it's 1 frame faster, you know what I mean? And which could come out of Sav. So he didn't even need this. If you consider its effectiveness against the wall, he already had this. So I would just recommend, here you can, actually this would be a good whiff punisher too, but again, it's gated behind a stance to where you don't want to be throwing out too much, because it's going to be more predictable when they see you go into the stance and do it. You know what I mean? Since you can't just throw it out like that. Since there's like I said, there's a little startup time. So I think you can spam it more, right? You can spam this more and use it, or if you're moving, they do a whiff and then boom, right? And it does leave them at a good position to where you can, you can freely walk up towards them. Since their head is towards you, they can't do like an invincible wake up backwards, right? So the mix up after this position is you can get free Oki by being like at range 0 to them as they're rising, or you can stay here and then wait for them to do an attack, which they often do. So like boom, and then feint like you're going towards them, and then stop. Then they do a move, boom, easy. I have plenty of highlights like that. Like you're gonna see it when I release my second offensive highlights tutorial. And then you're golden, right? Then you're golden, you know. But this definitely, I mean, it's good, but this could already be used like that, like I said, before the buff. But still, you should use it like that, even more so. With the buff making it safe. Just that mix up of doing that, since they're at a very bad position, waking up in that direction. So yeah, what's next? Savage down 4-2. This one right here. Now the problem with this is that during season 1, people weren't spamming this like that. People would do that once in a blue moon, or for wake up, for Oki, or something like that. So given the fact that Miguel has a low player usage in general, a lot of people didn't punish this. Even when I just did it, even when I just kind of spammed it, did it in neutral, a lot of people didn't punish it because maybe they didn't know, or maybe, it was they didn't expect it, or they don't play enough Miguels. But ever since season 2 came out, and the move had phenomenal pushback, equating it to Heihachi's 4-4-2, then all of a sudden all players were hip to this move, and they would do their best long range punishers or whatever they could do to punish it. And now that move was on their radar. I don't know if other Miguel players kind of felt that, you know what I mean? But now this move kind of became more unsafe on season 2, even though the pushback was good, because people were watching for it. And now season 3, they reduced they kind of reverted to season 1, it seems. I'm not sure, but has far less pushback, right? And but the thing is, people are still now cemented into their mind. They watch for that move. So now it's kind of more unsafe than season 1, because now people have put that on their radar. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've played Miguel enough times to kind of feel that, right? So I definitely suggest you not to use this move too much. And do what the masters want you to do. And instead of spamming this, spam this. You know what I mean? And kind of in the beginning of the video when I talked about this, and that, kind of add this into your arsenal too. But do this and then just kind of go like that. That's what I do sometimes. Space, 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 and then do this and then space again. And then, I'm just adding that into my spacing. So if I see whiff, boom, you know what I mean? And then boom, right? And that's how I kind of alternate between that, and then use that to kind of just stay still like this, because that's a mix up in itself. So if I'm here, then Lee does something, and then boom, yeah, I'm good. So definitely add that into your list of, whiff punishers, Notice I say whiff punishers, not keep out. Don't use this as a keep out, because you do that and then you're dying after it whiffs, because you see how long it takes to recover. Kind of use that as a whiff punisher, not a keep out. Use this as a keep out and use that as a keep out. So, yeah, I was talking about Savage down 4-2. Like I said, there's still pushback. There's still pushback, and it's still hard to punish. See, at the tip range like that, it's still kind of hard to punish, I've noticed. So it's not completely useless, and I still recommend to use it as Oki, because like I said, don't be afraid of taking risks with Miguel. Even if they keep nerfing these options, making it more riskier, don't be afraid of taking risks. If you do this, you do that, still mix up. Still feel free to mix up this or mix up that. Go for big damage stuff. Don't play, or you can play how you want, but in my opinion, this is how Miguel always needs to take a degree of risks. You know what I mean? And a degree of not giving a fuck, kinda. So when you do that, like I said, you do that, then yeah, don't be afraid of mixing up those two. That's a good mix up. Both are 19 frames, and both of the animations are kind of hard to read, And the fact that he ducks kind of confuses people to think he's going for a low punch or something. So still don't be afraid to mix it up on Oki with that, or this. Down 4-4-3. Great move. And this is what I want Miguel players to do. Don't just use that as a round ending move. Since this increases damage, it's better as a round ender. Boom, 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 boom. Sometimes I'll do it twice, and that's an easy 46 damage, Don't just use that as a round ending move. Use that in neutral too, especially if the person has a good read on you defensively. Because that, again, it's kind of an undetectable animation if you do that in neutral. Because he's not dunking, he's not saying anything. So it's a free damage, boom, boom, but then they can't block that second kick, which is going to be frustrating, Boom, boom, sidestep, boom, boom. The range is good too, you know? So it's kind of an underrated move, even though it is launch punishable. But again, in this case, it being a 2-hit move makes it kind of better and less susceptible to launch punishing. Because especially if you've already done this and then just done that, or mix up with that, then they don't know if you're going for the second hit. So they can block that and get hit by that second hit. Or they can block that and then, you know, not punish the second kick because they didn't expect you to do it or something, right? Let me see. Put guard all right here. Yeah, so, I mean, it's 14 and then 15, right? So it's launch punishable, but again, if you're using it correctly and not abusing it, just like not abusing this, if you're using it correctly, then you're going to hit them with that. And that's a free 23 damage since it's a natural. And like I said, with the added damage bonus, then or damage boost, then I think you should be taking advantage of that because that really opens up people. If they already have a good read on what you're trying to do, you feel like it's unsafe trying to go low because they're blocking that, right? They're blocking this. Then just space, and then do that. And then that'll slowly chip off their damage and then now open up their defense, you know, since then they'll start looking for that. Then you can just go in, boom, boom, right? So I think it's an underrated move that you should use more so, especially because of the damage boost. And this video is going on for a long time, so let me try and wrap this up. Let's see. Down back 3. Oh yeah, this move. Let me try and keep these brief. So this move is ruined because of season 3. The fact that it's now +4 means you can't get this. That's not a frame trap. That's not a frame trap. And this isn't a frame trap. This move, which caught steppers going to Miguel's right, his weak side. So you can't do this, you can't do that, and you can't do this. It's not a true frame trap. You can do it, of course, but you need to condition them to respect you. So what was a job that was already difficult for Miguel to condition them to respect you and to even get in order to do that with having superior spacing? It's a job that's made even harder now that there's a reduction in frames and the person is standing, right? Which means they can easily sidestep both directions. So you don't know if you should do this, if you should do this or that, just based on their side steps. And they can jab you out of a lot of things. So here's a shocking, unfortunate, inconvenient truth. When you do this move, especially if you haven't established a rapport, if you haven't established a framework for if you haven't given your opponent a framework for how to defend against you, if you haven't put fear into him, if you haven't established, okay, he likes to dick jab after I do this. Oh, he likes to sidestep left, right after I do this. Oh, he likes to do a power crush or something, right? If you haven't established a type of a framework for what he likes to do, then when you first do this move, don't do anything after that. I don't recommend doing anything because people who know Miguel will just automatically sidestep to either direction. But people who know him better will sidestep to his right. You know what I mean? But I've seen people sidestep to his non-weak side, expecting you to do that, especially if you do this or something, or especially that, right, or this. I've seen people step to the non-weak side. So, like I said, once you do that move, initially don't do anything after that because there's so many ways they can beat out what you do through sidestep, through dig jab, through a launcher if you go for low. +4 doesn't mean anything to Miguel because most of his good mids are either 14 frames or 15 frames. So you're either going to trade or get beat by a jab, right? So don't do anything after that. If you don't establish a framework for what they're doing after you do this on hit, then do two things. Either do this, don't do anything, do this, and do that. If you see they're not sidestepping, then the only move I would recommend you do, like I said, without getting them to respect you, is to do this. Since that's actually one of his last remaining frame traps out of this. Since it comes out in 13 frames, that's +4 on hit, then they can't interrupt you. If they're sidestepping, do this. Boom. Boom. And then once you hit them with this, it's +4. But that's only if you have hard reads, like you said. Like I said, that's only if you have hard reads and you know they're sidestepping. If you don't have a hard read, which I mean by framework, then don't be liberal about continuing to attack. Just do that and you're good. Now, if you've established offensive pressure and you've put in fear into them, then you can go ham and do what you were able to do pre-season 3. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Then you can do things that would be considered, unsafe or not smart. But if they're so scared of it, then you can keep attacking. But otherwise, do that and then just watch. That's the biggest key thing about Miguel in season 3. You have to you have to watch what the opponent does. You have to see how they respond to Miguel, then you have to adjust. This character is all about adjusting in season 3. And this move culminates that kind of ideal, right? To where you do this and then you just watch what are they doing? Are they going to sidestep? Are they going to backdash? What are they doing? And then the next time you do it, then you do the correct option based on that. But the whole time you're just doing simple pokes, sidesteps, poke, sidestep, launch, do a good combo. Do a good combo. Post, sidestep, being very conservative, not doing anything, kind of sandbagging. And then once you got a good read, then you go in for the big stuff. Then you go in for the big stuff. And then make sure your Oki game's on point. Miguel's Oki is amazing. Still. Boom. Boom. Launch him every time. When you do this, launch him every time. You know what I mean? Boom, boom. Do that. Finish off with this. That's, what is that? That's 66 damage because his stomp is 20 damage. That's 46 damage. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. And then boom. That's 66 damage. Just make sure you follow through on your Oki because he has really good Oki. And actually, this next video I'm going to show you, I'm going to release after this video. I'm going to really show you like what he can do. So collect your damage, space, poke. Don't reveal all your cards. Once you have a good read, then go for the big damage stuff. Go for the unsafe stuff like that. Boom, boom. After you're hitting them with this, and then as a round ender, go for this. Even though that's not a good move, but you can kill them easily. Boom, like that. So just be conservative, play coy, space, good spacing. And then once you have a good read, once you've established what he likes to do, once you've established pressure, then go in for the strings. So that's kind of how I see how Miguel should be played for season 3. I didn't talk about this, but it's kind of the same thing, It doesn't really matter if you can go to Savage Stance or not. It's cool, but it leaves him too far to really establish any pressure. To where I'd only recommend going into Savage Stance against the wall. Then you can do some crazy stuff. Boom, 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 right? Boom. That would trade. It's +5, it'll trade, and it's wall splat. So I only recommend kind of doing that against the wall, But otherwise, similar to this, it leaves him too far to really be a threat. So like I said, now that's really my roundup, I guess, of how Miguel should be played, for season 3. And take that advice, run with it, comment what you think. Or if you think it's a good strategy in terms of the moves I've demonstrated and how you should play them in terms of whiff punishers, certain moves, changes, stuff like that. And let me know. So like I said, dude, I have a lot of videos coming out. Like I have another Oki tutorial, like I said, another offensive highlights, another combo video. So I'm gonna try to start releasing, more frequent, like you guys want me to. I've read all your comments on my previous videos. Definitely see them, not ignoring them. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys.